If your pet does this, big trouble's coming. Never underestimate your pet's intelligence. They sometimes know far more than we realize. Yeah, maybe they can't speak, but they communicate a lot through actions and small sounds, which is why you should keep an eye on them. Some animals may exhibit unusual behavior, indicating something is about to happen. When your pet does this, big trouble is on the way. Let's dig in further. Neither of us knows how much time we have left in our lifetime. Death is always an unexpected event, but for our pets, it's a little more expected. In fact, pets may know about death more than we do. It's unfortunate that one cat in particular could predict when someone's life will be cut short. Oscar the cat, who is officially a therapy cat, lives in a nursing and rehab facility in Rhode Island, United States. Oscar is arguably one of the most essential workers anybody has ever had, and he was adopted along with many other cats in 2005. The nurses in this rehabilitation facility assist patients in the final stages of illnesses such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. The cats were introduced to make these patients feel better because they were typically entirely unconscious of what was happening around them. The nurses quickly realized that one of these cats was very important. The people at the facility noted that Oscar would stay near that person and sleep close to them whenever someone died. Everyone assumed it was simply a cat sleeping until it happened repeatedly. But after a point, it was no longer a coincidence. Oscar is thought to have foretold around 100 fatalities as of 2015. Oscar, who still lives at the Stir House Nursing Home and Rehabilitation Center, has inspired several new investigations. Another amazing example is that certain pets appear to be capable of detecting cancer, one of the most terrifying and lethal diseases. There have been reports of dogs behaving strangely, sniffing about, and appearing worried next to their owners or certain friends of owners. In one case, it was eventually discovered that the owner had cancer and that the dog was only trying to warn them of that because, as it turns out, many dogs can detect sickness. A dog's nose is significantly stronger than a human nose, so they can sense far more than we can. A human nose has approximately 5 million smell glands, but a dog has about 1,000 to 100,000 times that. It is far more sensitive than ours and therefore far more powerful in terms of smelling and perceiving things. So, how do dogs identify cancer? Each type of cancer actually has a different method of identification. If it is breast or lung cancer, dogs can generally detect it through the owner's breath. They can tell by the way the person inhales and exhales. Sniffing the owner's urine can identify bladder and prostate cancer, and sniffing tumors of blood samples tips them off to whether someone has ovarian cancer. This demonstrates how powerful your pet's senses can be. They mainly detect these by smelling or licking, and licking helps them detect skin problems too. Researchers discovered that dogs could notice skin illnesses like melanoma, a potentially lethal kind of skin cancer. They also have the ability to sniff your skin and learn this information. For example, Lauren Gauthier was the proud owner of a bright young dog that she trusted and absolutely adored. So when the dog was acting a bit off, she noticed and looked concerned. The dog, it turns out, was somewhat disturbed by a pimple on her nose and kept looking and sniffing around it. Gauthier eventually decided to have it looked at, and after some testing, it was discovered that the lesion was basal cell carcinoma, a kind of skin cancer. Luckily, the doctors had caught it in time and she was immediately treated for it. After the issue was resolved, the dog's strange behavior ended. So Gauthier certainly wouldn't have known anything about her health or skin cancer if it weren't for her dog. So, if your dog is sniffing you a little too much or trying to lick you with much less enthusiasm and joy than usual, it's worth getting checked out. Dogs can reportedly detect other ailments as well. Diabetes is one very common example. Regardless of the type of diabetes, many people with the disease have been alerted and rescued by pets. They're so helpful when it comes to this, in fact, that some dogs have been adopted by owners for this sole purpose, because they save lives. It wasn't widely recognized at first, but as time passed, more and more individuals became aware of these capabilities. Dogs may genuinely be our superheroes. Rebecca Farrar, who is only a kid, is among those whose lives have been rescued repeatedly. This young child has type 1 diabetes and does not know when her blood sugar levels are dangerously high. She has no idea when it changes, but her dog does. A 3-year-old Labrador Golden Retriever mix clearly understands when Rebecca's sugar levels shift and become hazardous. So when the dog detects a decline in her owner's blood sugar levels, she licks her owner's hand. And when the dog licks Rebecca's hand, it's an indication that she needs to have a snack. And this is only one of many examples. Some dogs even outperform the weatherman. That's right. We'd be better off popping an adorable little Pomeranian in front of that green screen with a suit and tie. Now who wouldn't want that? Some animals, it appears, can detect approaching bad weather. Unusual behavior might indicate that terrible weather is on its way. This can be quite beneficial to humans. It frequently occurs when the weather unexpectedly changes, like when it rains and storms when we anticipated the weather would be sunny. Apparently, those weather apps are sometimes not correct either. Your pet's senses are likely to be more accurate than many researchers. So next time, instead of asking Alexa or Siri if you need an umbrella, maybe ask your dog. And if your dog answers back, a talking dog would be far more interesting than a little rain. Basically, before terrible weather, dogs may suddenly bark or even snuggle in their owner's laps. They are even more conscious of harsh weather situations such as storms or thunder. Dogs may be masters at anticipating this kind of weather, but how do they do it? This, of course, is due to their acute senses. Some cats or dogs may even detect changes in barometric pressure or the static electric field, indicating that they can feel changes in the air or electricity, which are indicators of severe weather. We humans will only notice that terrible weather is approaching when the sky has become totally gloomy or after the rain or storm has already begun. But some animals can feel and will likely recognize it much before people do. Perhaps it would be a good idea to include some animals in the weather forecast. They can certainly be valuable creatures. Some people were already aware that animals might be excellent weather forecasters. It was indeed pretty normal for certain groups in China. China is a vast country with a wide range of weather conditions, and earthquakes are actually fairly common. Many horrific and life-threatening earthquakes have struck China and its people, severely destroying certain areas and killing individuals. After learning from past disasters, some Chinese people believe it would be highly beneficial if they could foresee similar disasters more accurately before it was too late. They recognize that animals and their keen senses might predict earthquakes well ahead of humans. Researchers initially anticipated that an earthquake would occur in roughly a year, but they didn't know when. Then they opted to study the animals just before an earthquake and saw strange behavior from people in the country who owned all sorts of animals. Chickens flying against the roof, owls howling even louder, and snakes slithering away, to mention a few. All of them were warning indicators of an impending earthquake. The Chinese people, including the government and researchers, are now legally adopting the use of animals to anticipate the weather. Chickens, fish, and even toads are protecting people's lives with their keen senses and forecasting abilities. So if your dog is barking furiously, whining, or trying to hide somewhere in a closet or under the bed, you might want to take that as a signal that something is coming. What strange behavior have you observed in your pet that you later understood signaled big trouble? Tell us about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Thanks for watching.